Well, as you know, if it were easy, everyone would do it, but that's what makes racing racing.
Thanks very much, Parker.
Parker Johnstone, quite a gentleman. So we're under the full course caution again with Robbie Gordon as the leader in 51 laps now complete. Jimmy Vasser with a good run in second place right now. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Fifth full course caution of the day in the ITT Automotive Detroit Grand Prix. Let's review the stories. Well, the rough track has very definitely figured into the bottom of that order, which is the battle between Goodyear and Firestone, as the tires have very definitely been a problem here today, and the rough track isn't helping that. Michael's frustration, he's not as frustrated as he could be. He's running in fourth place now and has a definite shot at taking part in a battle for the lead. The question is going to be challenges in passing on the street circuits, and let me tell you, we've seen some incredible passes in places I don't think you ought to be able to. Fuel has also become very much an issue, and how you make it stretch out, eh, Jackaroo?
Well, I'm with car owner Derek Walker of Robbie Gordon and Christian Fittipaldi's mounts, but you've had a very long discussion with your crew chief and the rest of the team. What is the condition for Robbie Gordon right now?
Well, the guy we've been talking to the most is the fuel miser back there on the control panel. We've been monitoring the fuel use, which obviously that's going to come into the end of the race. We're just trying to get through the end without any other stops. I mean, everything else is working fine.
Can you go the distance? Can you go without having to make another stop?
We believe we can, but obviously until you do it, you never know.
Well, let's check in with Lynn St. James.
Well, the other Walker Racing teammate, Christian Fittipaldi, has got a stop-and-go penalty. When you engage that button, it actually engages a pit lane speed control. It's not cruise control, but it actually is predetermined by the computer, preset, that no matter what gear you're in, it automatically will limit you to going only 80 miles an hour, which is the speed limit in the pit lane. They don't know if he used it. Obviously, he didn't, or he wouldn't have had that black stop-and-go.
Of course, part of it is how you set the numbers in for that and whether or not they were set incorrectly. So Goodyear has been a formidable presence here at the Detroit Grand Prix, not only on the track but above the track with the Goodyear blimp Spirit of Akron, which is hovering overhead, providing us with spectacular aerial views. We're under full course caution. Robbie Gordon leaves it. Jimmy Vasser is up from 17th or 14th into second place. And we're going to have a nice sprint to the finish. We'll be back. ABC Sports at the ITT Automotive Detroit Grand Prix on Belle Isle in Detroit, a 2.1 mile, 14 turn temporary road course. We're under a full course caution after 53 laps. This was the order. 77 laps or 161.7 miles is the scheduled distance. And there are some very interesting tactics now beginning to be, well, not now, they've been playing them the whole race, haven't they, Jack?
Oh, Paul, this, I think, started probably last night when people tried to run the scenarios out. A little bit different than the type of race we had expected, but everyone thought fuel would be a situation. Now, Jimmy Vasser, who currently runs in second, according to Montana Ganassi Racing, they think they can go the distance because they've had a sufficient number of caution laps. The same, though, although Derek Walker said it on camera, he seems to also think that maybe the people that are chasing the leader, Robbie Gordon, his car down, have to make an additional stop. So it depends on whether Robbie Gordon's car owner, Derek Walker, wants to play it close to the vest or play it like a blackjack game. It's right now it's showing 17. Do you want to take another hit? Go back to Scott Pruitt. He can go the distance. Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr., both of them, according to our information, should be able to go the distance as well. But let me tell you one thing that I've learned about racing after about 15 years on the IndyCar circuit. You can forget about everything I just said, because when they drop the green flag, it all goes out the window.
Yeah, and then you got a guy like me who hits on 17. Sixth place is Fernandez, then Fabi, then Villeneuve, then Tracy, then Fittipaldi. It all looks like they can go the distance. That's Emerson Fittipaldi. Ready to go green.
Just keep in mind, Robbie Gordon and Vasser have both gone 4 laps longer than all the other cars on their pit. So they're 4 laps worse shape on their fuel.
As they're ready to come back to green flag racing, you look down above the Detroit River, the Honda Helicam, and you look across the river into Canada. River splits around Belle Isle. Great unlimited hydroplane race. The Gold Cup held here as well. There's that camera mounted outboard of the helicopter, giving those great runs down the backstretch. What I think is fascinating is that, generally speaking, the Indy cars can outrun the helicopter down that stretch along the river there.
Interesting, the experience level among the first 3 drivers, Gordon, Vasser, and Pruitt. Just 1 win among those 3 drivers, but 57 wins between Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr. right behind him.
See Robbie Gordon pitch the back end as he came around the pace car and head back to green flag racing. Green flag out. In pursuit right behind him is Vassar. Scott Pruitt runs in third place. Michael Andretti right behind him. The leaders all together.
Now these guys need to scrub off a little bit of that tire buildup that they get while they were under yellow. But after that, we've got to see a trophy dash type of a race.
And I'll tell you what, we've got everybody in the field that's running for the lead, all right together on the course. Down through Teo Fabi, Jacques Villeneuve, who is 8th, Paul Tracy, who is 9th, and Emerson Fittipaldi, who's 10th. They're all together on the race course.
And we've talked about the international aspect of this race, but yet the first 5 drivers are all American.
Scott Pruitt making a look to the inside of Jimmy Vassar. On the restart, Jacques Villeneuve. Look at this. As Paul Tracy got outside him, and he almost lost it totally, but gathered it back up and saved it.
Well, I showed you that kid's one good driver. He really should have lost that one.
The heavy Indy car pitched like that. Nice piece of recovery. Nothing changes at the front. Pruitt still worrying Vassar.
They're looking for holes, though, Paul. They really need to do this quick. They can't let Robbie Gordon get away. Vassar is trying to hold on. He's not necessarily gaining on Robbie, but look right behind. It's getting really crowded right there.
Down the pit straight once again. 56 laps complete for the leader, Robbie Gordon. The battle is at second place. Vassar and Scott Pruitt. Michael Andretti now sticks his nose in, tries to get around Pruitt.
You see Vassar in that red and yellow car right there. He came very close to winning it in. He had his best day so far in racing at Indianapolis, and I think that gave him a confidence that he had never experienced before.
He's a good driver, Sam. He just doesn't know. He knows that Pruitt has got to take a swing at him occasionally here. He just doesn't know which turn or which side. But Pruitt has to try it.
It's 2 seconds from first back to 5th place, Al Unser Jr. They're all right together, and nobody seems to be able to pull out much of an advantage. Robbie Gordon a little bit ahead, while Jimmy Vassar handles up the challenge from Scott Pruitt. Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr. there watching, waiting, looking for an opening.
Scott Pruitt in the red and white car, number 3 there. Pat Patrick's the owner. Puts a lot of pressure on his drivers, likes good results.
He never put pressure on you, Bobby.
Well, I didn't drive for him very often, but I used to outrun his cars a whole bunch.
You put the pressure on Pat. Robbie Gordon still in front. Came across the line 0.8 of a second ahead of Jimmy Vassar.
Michael Andretti has a look at what his work is. He has got to make these passes ahead of him. He is a brilliant passer. He's had trouble with the brakes throughout the season. He's coming around now to one of the few points on the track which offers an opportunity for passing. It'll come up right here after this little bridge with concrete. Notice how wide the track is here. This is a passing opportunity, but he does not get a good exit speed off that turn, and thus there's no chance this lap.
Aerial views really help you tell exit speed as you look 1st through 5th. Let's go ride with Michael Andretti. He runs in 4th place. We'll sit here, watch that battle ahead of him.
Is starting to run out for Michael Andretti, both in this race with just 18 laps to go now, and also in the championship. He languishes in 9th place, and if he's going to start making a move toward the front of the championship standing, it's got to be today.
If you listen to Michael going, you can hear his shifting in his transmission there. It's sequential shift. I know we told the people this a lot of times, but it's just like a motorcycle. 1st to 2nd to 3rd, you can't jump gears, you have to follow them. And they downshift the same way.
Let's go up in the air again as we continue to watch this battle. Boy, is it terrific. Look at them all right together there. 18 laps to go.
Just the way the race started, except with a different task.
Battle first through fifth, all right together there. Lyn St. James, what a great run.
Well, it's fantastic, and as Bobby was talking about the sequential gearbox, not only is it sequential, but it is now where you can actually keep your foot full throttle when you shift instead of having to kind of blip it. It's all done now with the engine control unit, and there's an engine control unit in the mechanism that just gives it just takes the ignition away just a fraction of a second every time the hand is on the shifter. So it's all beautiful, smooth, and automatic and controlled with computers.
Boy, is it unbelievable how Robbie gives the back end of that car a pitch as he comes on the straight, leading down to the pit straight. He really lets it track.
That group's got to make him kind of nervous. I mean, he looks behind him, he says, wow, there's a bunch of hungry guys back there.
Boy, nobody letting go.
Jimmy Vasser's best finish, you see him in the red car there, on a road course is 4th back last year in Australia. So he is, in a sense, overachieving very much at this point.
1st through 8 have now closed up. They're all running together. 1st through 8 with 17 laps to go.
The pressure's getting on. They're getting too close together without somebody making a real serious attempt at passing. So pretty soon we got to start seeing it.
Let's go pit side again. Lyn St. James.
Well, again, I was listening to Bobby talking about Robbie and how if he looks in those mirrors and he sees that whole row and that whole lineup behind him. But, you know, I can't help but think of Robbie's background of out there in the desert where, you know, he's such a charger, and he, you know, this is the kind of thing that I think plays into his personality. This is when Robbie, I think, is going to be at his best.
Well, Lyn, I agree with you. And, of course, Robbie has the confidence that win at Phoenix gave him. He seems so overdue this year for a win. Now he's got one, and he seems to be well positioned to have another one right now.
Michael Andretti beginning to try some lines on Scott Pruitt. Al Unser Jr. sitting just back and watching from 5th place. And just that quick, there's 1st through 8th past you.
And you know, if you look right behind little Al, look at that red and green car. That's Rick Gallus's Adrian Fernandez coming up. Look at all the cars that are just lined up there. Somebody pulls the cork on that bottle, it's going to run every place.
And yet, the difficulty of passing here, particularly late in the race, with the groove so narrow, is obvious.
Robbie Gordon leads it. You see them all right together there. Then Jimmy Vasser, then Scott Pruitt, then Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr. You know, it wasn't, 24 months ago that you talked about Michael Andretti and Al Unser Jr. as the new guys up and coming. Now they're the veterans, and the 3 in front of them are the new guys, challenging these old guards such as it is.
Gordon starting to pull away a little.
And Michael once again lets Scott Pruitt know that he's there.
He's winding up his rubber band. He's getting ready to try something.
Bobby, this is kind of the racing that if you're a driver you really enjoy, is it not?
Oh, it really is, but every guy's thinking of his own deal, but what is the other guy thinking about? That's what they're all thinking.
All right, this is what everybody's concerned with in the pits as we run now the 62nd lap. Robbie Gordon, Jimmy Vasser stopped on lap 37, and then 4 laps later, Pruitt, Andretti, Unser Jr. all made their stops. In fact, Unser Jr., Fernandez, Teo Fabi, and Paul Tracy all made their stops. So the question is, can Gordon, can Vasser make it to the finish? Jack Arute, Robbie Gordon, can he make it to the finish? What do you think?
Well, Derek Walker may be putting the first base card up, because first Robbie Gordon restarted the race. He was running at 96% fuel. He has now been instructed to turn it up to 98% fuel. And guys, that may account for the slight lead he has over Jimmy Vasser. He's, as we used to say in the old days, turned the wick up just a bit.
He's pulled the lead out to just over 1 second. Not much of a lead at all, especially on a circuit like this.
It's really stopping the other guys from being able to, you can see how Vasser's falling back a little bit. They can't try a pass on him, and that's what he's trying to prevent. But remember another thing, they had such a long yellow the last time, probably brought him into the right frame on fuel.
So 1st through 8th still run right together, nose to tail, all the way around. Nobody seems to be able to get anything done, though. I'd suggest to you that they're waiting until the last